I said we concluded the football, Matt, and we have two really exciting quarterfinals in the Senior Football Championship. We have Newcastle West versus Monaleen at 1 o'clock, and then we have Adair versus Father Casey's at 4 o'clock. Both those games on Sunday. We'll start in Skeeton with Newcastle West versus Monaleen. Two sides that are no strangers to each other at this stage of competition. Obviously met there last year. There's only 1 point in it, and Newcastle West went on to win the championship. They played in the first round of the championship this year, and Newcastle West, I think, were 5 point victors, but Monaleen have been steadily building aside from the loss to Newcastle and Casey's. Again, Newcastle West are the form team, are the defending champions, are the bookies' favourites, everyone's favourites. But when these two teams meet, it's always really close, Matt.
It is, Jack. You're absolutely right. All the forum pointers are towards Newcastle West. They're the defending champions. They're through to the semi-final directly. They have won all 5 games. Whilst Monaleen, Monaleen went into the last 2 games, Jack, with 2 points, and wondering if they would make it through or not. But they beat Claghon and Galway in the last 2 games, which propelled them up to 6 points and into the quarterfinals. But this wouldn't be the first time that Monaleen have been in this situation. They tend quite a bit to be slow starters and slow burners. But by God, when it comes to the knockout stage of the competition, they are a different animal, as we saw in the quarterfinal against St. Kieran's. And it's going to be a big ask of Monaleen, but when these two meet, you rightly flagged that there has been very, very little between them. They met in the semi-final last year, and it was touch and go right until the end, until Newcastle West finally got over the line by 11 points to 10. It was one of those games where Newcastle West had to pull out all the stops and to see off the challenge of Monaleen. And I don't think it'll be much different on Sunday in Skeeton. But I think I'm believing that Newcastle West, I've seen them earlier on in the year, I believe that they're a better team than they were last year. I think they have moved on a bit, and they've moved up a level. And the day I saw them now, they were without Cian Sheehan, and of course, you know what he brings to the table. He's not an all-star nominee for fun, So, he's just a simply fantastic club player. I think you and I reached the consensus last year that he was the player of the Senior Football Championship. So he's back on board now at this stage. So, like, I saw Monaleen a couple of times. I think Brian Donovan, who's such a huge key player for him, is in the form of his life, absolutely. And they have a very good sprinkling of good players, and you needn't go any further than the goalkeeper, Donald O'Sullivan. What a servant he has been to his club and his county. And he takes a certain amount of the frees for him, and quite a few of them with success. So, it's going to be a very, very interesting game. It's one of those games, Jack, I'd sum up by saying that whichever one of them will be in the final will deserve to be there.
Yeah, and we talked about a lot about Newcastle there, and they've probably been the best team on paper in the championship for the bones of a decade now. But I think it's fair to say every year they generally have one complacent display. Last year, the first round against Galway, they were quite poor, and they got through it, and they went on in, I think was it 2019, they lost to Ula and rebounded, but 2018, the sticks out for me when they were beaten by Ballylanders, when, and the previous year they were beaten by Adair in the final when they would have been heavily favoured to win both those games. That if there is any complacency this weekend, Monaleen are a team that can certainly take advantage of that. And Monaleen will be desperate to get back to a final, because for a powerhouse in Limerick football, they haven't been there in 6 years, which is a long time for them.
It's a lifetime for Monaleen not to have been there for 6 years, but they are a very, very good a very, very good football team. And you're right when you say that Newcastle West invariably over the years have some blip in some game, and very often it has been costly. But Newcastle West have never won back-to-back titles in Limerick. Now, Monaleen will be coming in, and look, I hate bringing this up all the time, but it's a fact of life. And they will be coming in with the advantage of a quarter final. Whilst Newcastle West have been idle. And I saw Monaleen a couple of times. And the first time I saw them this year, I thought they were downright damn poor. But I saw it wasn't an improvement I saw in them in the quarter final with St. Kieran's. It was a transformation. And it was the type of performance that I have come to expect from Monaleen. And like they beat St. Kieran's comfortably, and they beat them for 35 minutes with just 14 players. So they are quite formidable, and look, it'll be squeaky bums time, I think, going down the home straight in Askeaton on Sunday afternoon, Jack.
Yeah, it definitely will. It's a really exciting one, and I'll get your prediction for it in just a few moments.